Kankara, Katsina State. And all the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, to consider and implement the recommendation of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Nigeria Security Challenges, dated March 17, 2020, and Senate resolutions therefrom, as a holistic response to the mounting security challenges across the country. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Ahmed Sani Musa.
Thank you, Mr. Right time. Because just yesterday, I stand to second this motion. But as I second this motion also, I have my own issue. All this issue has galvanized the whole of the North. Just yesterday, a pastor was killed. This is a man that was just living in his house peacefully, and suddenly bandits attacked that home and killed him. Took his wife, took his children all away. The Hakimi of Yakila in Rapi local government was abducted on Saturday with the APC youth leader. APC youth leader of that ward. Till today, they have not been rescued and no news about them. This is every day going on. And it is in this harlot chamber that we spoke that the service chiefs have done very well. They should go. The fountain of knowledge is not discriminatory. Nobody, no single individual will suffer this thing if this change is done. The president will not suffer anything if this change is done. But we cannot continue to be here after we have sworn to the Quran that we are going to stand for the people, and we will come here every day. Every day people are dying and nothing is happening. And we continue to talk. We continue to go and console them. We can't bring those lives back. We can't continue to be leaders when the people who are leading are being killed every day. What are the police doing? Yesterday, armed bandits were roaming the street of Tagina, and Beji is just about 20 kilometers to Mina. They were roaming, going to buy bread, buy geisha. This sardine geisha. Sardine, canned fish. And nobody saying anything to them. And then we will continue to live here and think we are at peace with ourselves? No, we are not at peace. Mr. President, there is need for this chamber to draw the attention of Mr. President that enough is enough. This service chief should go. We should give impetus to new blood. There are people that have new ideas. Technology is taking over everything today. We don't have the army. We don't have the police. Why don't we deploy technology? Just recently, somebody is saying we should bring mercenaries to Nigeria. Why should we bring mercenaries to Nigeria? When we have vibrant youths that are ready to stand for this country. I'm not emotional. I'm being very honest and I'm talking from the heart. Enough of this sin. Mr. President, I wish the National Assembly will take a drastic action on this. We have the powers to appropriate. We have been appropriating. Where is this funds going to? Are these service chiefs the only people that can move this country or defend the territorial integrity of this country? Enough of this thing. I saw second, sir.
Senator Kabir Barki.
Central. Mr. President, I rise to second this very, very important motion, of which definitely I can say it's really a sad, very sad incident that happened in Kankara. Mr. President, just like my colleague said, enough is enough. You know, we cannot just sit down here every day when this thing is happening. We keep on condemning. and maybe have 1 minute silence and then disperse, and that's the end of it. Mr. President, whenever this thing happens, what I want all of us to put is just assuming that, yes, your children are among those that were abducted. What will you feel? So, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, definitely we have to do something very, very urgent. Because it's not just, we cannot just sit down here and say, okay, 200, 300, 500 children here are abducted, especially in the northern part of the country. Why, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues? And we are here. Just as your colleague said, we keep on appropriating money to the security agents, but nothing is being done. Every year we appropriated billions of naira. So, Mr. President, we have to definitely do something on this issue. Somebody was telling me that, of course, all these kidnappers, whatever, they have informants. And immediately they wanted to do the action. The informant will just tell them, okay, this is what you should do. So why can't you also involve this communication? NCC, the communication ministry. Assuming we can even, for example, now, before this thing can happen, we can just, decide this communications, we can off it, Mr. President. So we have to invite, at least initially agree to invite this communication minister so that, yes, we have to put hands together and see how we can stop this incident, Mr. President. Therefore, I definitely want all of us to support this very important motion and to implement prayers and not only condemning, but take action. Because enough is enough, Mr. President. Something has to be done. Thank you very much, distinguished colleague. Mr. President, I so second this.
Minority Leader.
Statement on this matter. Mr. President, bring back our boys.
Thank you very much, Minority Leader. Senator
George. Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues, James Ebio, War Manager, CON, Delta South. Mr. President, mine too will be very brief, but not as brief as one sentence, as demonstrated by the Minority Leader. Mr. President, one can understand the emotions, undoubtedly. You have just addressed us and the guests that we had just how many minutes ago. Unusual, but you did the right thing. Once, when you have only one senator being sworn in, one person being sworn in, no news. But when you have about 4, you needed to say something. And you told the gospel truth about the bipartisan approach of the Senate in particular. And that is what is happening now. I can understand the emotions as demonstrated by the man from Niger. I'm sure that the senatorial district is the one that is under intense, terrible pressure. Is notorious for as far as kidnapping is concerned, that is the worst place in the country. Niger, it's been in the news almost every day. One can understand the emotions. One can even understand the emotions from the Niger, the Katsina senator. Mr. President, we have said a lot of things here, a lot. And at the end of the day, we condemn. The prayer is already known to the public. They will condemn. In fact, the bandits, the criminals, it is as if they enjoy we condemning their actions. When we condemn and we rise up for 1 minute silence, I'm sure they celebrate it, wherever they may be. So, Mr. President, we have done all that we needed to do as lawmakers. Let the public be aware that we have done all that we needed to do. We can't go beyond where we are now. The leader of the Senate led an adult committee, and we came up with powerful resolutions. The second attempt, the first attempt in the life of the Senate, but there was another one led by you as leader of the Senate in those days. for which we spent 1 full week somewhere in town, a retreat, and we came off with the same resolutions. Then the leader of the Senate today also led one, like I said before. What is happening to those things that we resolved? And we have packaged everything and we have handed out these things to the executive to implement. Not one item has been implemented, and then we are talking about inviting the service chiefs. For what? For what? We used to have one senator here in those days. The man will come, I will not mention the name, the man will come, he will sit down here. After 2-3 minutes, the man will leave. Coincidentally, I was seated next to him. I said, my man, you don't sit down here again. What is your problem? He said, oh, you come here, you talk and you talk and you talk. Whatever you talk means nothing. And therefore, he's tired of talking and he will come and then go. He will calculate when certain things will happen. He will come and then he goes. Mr. President, please, you heard this place. You heard the National Assembly. Please, what we have resolved to do, package very well. Let some of the things that we have resolved to do be implemented. Otherwise, Mr. President, I will behave like that man who was there with us. By the time any issue of insecurity is being discussed, I will pack my loads and go. Because we are tired. We are tired. Every day, 1, 2, 3 persons. This one that happened in Katsina. How did it happen? There is a puzzle for boys, young boys, 333 conflicting figures. But if it's 333 young boys, I can imagine what a young boy can do for them to be packaged away. How did it happen? Mr. President, there are so many unanswered questions. What a country. What a country, Mr. President. What a country. Something has to be done. But what do we do apart from talking here? It's the talking that we are doing again and again and again. Nigerians, please appreciate, do what our contribution. We can't talk beyond the talks. Mr. President, to God be the glory. Let the children be rescued. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
I'm Dr. Gabriel Suswam, Benue Northeast. Mr. President, I crave your indulgence to allow me read 2 provisions from the Constitution of the Federal Republic, 1999, as amended. The first one was quoted by the mover of the motion. That is the section under Chapter 2, Fundamental Objectives and Directive Principle of State Policy, Section 14(2)(b). It says, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. I'll go to Section 88 of the same Constitution, Mr. President. Section 14(2)(b). Mr. President, I go to Section 88 of the Constitution. Just allow me to read sub 1 up to B. Subject to the provisions of this Constitution, each House of the National Assembly shall have power by resolution published in its journal or its gazette of the government of the Federation to direct or cause to be directed an investigation into any matter or thing with respect to which it has power to make laws and the conduct of affairs of any person. Conduct of affairs of any person, Mr. President. I'll stop there. Mr. President, since we were inaugurated here, all that has occupied, or about 70% of what has occupied here, has been discussions of security situation. Mr. President, if the primary assignment of government is for the security and welfare of the people, how can we continue, as has been said here by previous speakers, to sit here pretending to be representative of the people? We are pretending to be their representative.
Distinguished Senator Gabriel Suswam, We are not pretending.
Abdullahi Adamu, and I represent Nasarawa West in the Senate. Mr. President, I want to talk as a father. Like most who have had opportunity to address this issue this morning have tried to do. That is, to identify myself with the inestimable concern that the issue of this kidnapping has continued to evoke in all of us. My heart goes with these children and their parents. My heart also goes with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is also a father. And I want to just say, Mr. President, that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. There is nothing we haven't said on this chamber and in other fora that was floated by the National Assembly to address the issue of national security, issue of security infrastructure, and what have you. But our fortune has not changed. If anything, it has become worse. But the solution to the problem is not despair. The solution to the problem is not fault finding. This Senate, the National Assembly, is part and parcel of this government. And I want to appreciate you, Mr. President, for the ability you have so well demonstrated in being so bipartisan in virtually every step of the journey so far since your leadership of this. I want to emphasize that, yes, this problem requires some solution, but our misfortune or our limitation, Mr. President, is the fact that we can only legislate and oversight. We have limitations because we cannot go beyond the law we make or to oversight. And it is common knowledge that where you don't have the power of hiring, you have no power of firing. Let's not deceive ourselves on this. I think Nigerians who are fair-minded will testify to the fact of our concern as a National Assembly on what is going on with the security situation. But we must go a little further. We must take the step of wisdom, the step of concern, the step of partnership with the leadership of this country, because each one of us here belongs to that class of leaders of this country. Where there is failure, the failure is our failure, all of us. All of us. So I want to suggest, Mr. President, that in the face of all that has been done this far, and in the face of the fact that the problems would appear to go beyond our expectation of solution, I want us to think out of the box. We have quoted every aspect of the Constitution that is relevant to this issue of security, to no avail. We have called the security chiefs in their numbers at different times, to no avail. We've had workshops, round tables, to no avail. There is a Hausa saying, if you permit me, Mr. President, idan ciwo yake magani, rai yake nema. if an ailment persists and every form of medication does not yield that it is looking for life of the patient, we have a duty to stand up. And in that standing up, I want to advise, Mr. President, that you set up a small committee, bipartisan committee, comprising the APC and the PDP, because I want to praise what we've done. Not just because I'm part of it here, but we have seen a big difference in the posture of the National Assembly in national issues. We have never been divided on the basis of partisan party division. I want us to exploit that spirit of bipartisanship, and you and the leadership set up a small committee, not too big, bogus committee, so that we can sit and proffer some other solutions, because this is a security problem, and talking here to the gallery does not solve the problem. We have done it, everything has been said, all right? We don't have to go on. Let us have a small committee, and we will come out with some ideas that have not been tried before. I so submit, Mr. President.
We'll go to the prayers. Prayer 1. Condemn in very strong terms the attack on Government Science Secondary School, Ankara, Katsina State, which led to the abduction and disappearance of over 300 students. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2. Invite the Minister of Defense, Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff, the Director General, Department of State Security Service, and the Inspector General of Police to brief the Senate on measures being taken to rescue the missing students at Government Science Secondary School, Ankara, Katsina State. Senator Bello Mandia, do you want me to put the question?
Mr. President, Mr. President, can step it down, sir. That's the feeling of this.
Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. Prayer 3. Urge the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, to consider and implement the recommendations of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Nigeria Security Challenges, dated March 17, 2020, and Senate resolutions therefrom as a holistic response to the mounting security challenges across the country. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Additional prayer, leader.
With the suggestion advanced by Senator Abdullahi Adamu, say constitute an ad hoc committee to brainstorm on the issue of security. Think out of the box and advise the Senate on the best way forward.
Yeah. Senator Abdullahi Adamu.
Thank you very much. I stand to support wholeheartedly the additional prayer that the Senate in its wisdom should set up a bipartisan ad hoc committee to take a look at the situation that has been so consistently. I so support.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the additional prayer by the lead, the nays have it. Additional prayer.
Mr. President, my additional prayer goes as thus: that the Federal Republic of Nigeria have passed a vote of no confidence on the service chiefs. Thank you.
The Senate is more than the service chiefs. I think we should maintain our standing. As a Senate, we should not be going down to the level of service chiefs and say we have passed vote of no confidence. this Senate has resolved at one point to have the service chiefs retired. I think that is the kind of thing we should do, but not to come to the level of, but if you want, I can still get someone to second it. Thank you very much. Distinguished colleagues, let me say this. There is nothing, and this is just emphasizing what most of us have said, there is nothing more important today for government to do than securing the lives of the citizens of this country. Nothing. And in fact, at all times, that's the most important function of any government. I could see the level of even frustration, so to speak. We as a parliament we should never get tired of talking about issues that affect our people. We should never get tired. We have our own limitations, of course, because of the structure of how governance must be carried out. But we must never get tired or be frustrated of reporting what is happening to our people. We should take, I believe, that we should think outside the box. We should think outside the box. We have said so many things. What are those new things that we need to say to bring everybody to the table for the kind of action that we believe in the Senate and indeed in the National Assembly that should be taken? My first motion in 1999 was on banditry in the House of Reps. Then there was banditry in the Northeast, especially between Damaturu and Maiduguri. Bandits will come out, operate on the highway 2-3 times in a day. And from that time till date, the story has been either the same or modified, but the insecurity will come in this form or another form. We are going to take another 42-52. And without preempting what Senator Bukiari will say, some of our citizens were killed 2 days ago in an IDP camp. These are issues that we must never get tired of talking about. We are part of government. We are part and parcel of government. But we have a specialized function. And all these things that we appear to be worried about that nothing has been done is because of the function that we have been appropriated to by the Constitution. But it doesn't mean that we are wasting our time. We are not wasting our time. So I believe that we should continue to talk about these things. We should continue to engage with the executive arm of government until the appropriate actions are taken. Because that is what we are expected to do as a parliament. I believe that we have expressed ourselves, some very emotionally, but definitely everybody spoke dispassionately. Thank you very much. Senate Leader.